Yes.
We're not going with the theme here at all.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone else has forgot things.
Sorry?
I don't think I forgot mine from yesterday.
Oh, do you want one?
Yeah.
No, well, I've got a couple of the cold
Has he got that look that says, I'm too cool to still go?
No.
I think moved away from Scarface with the way he described that.
Are you going to swap it? Are you going to swap it? No. That's alright. Straight in. We've got a job there, so you can switch on for further.
Good morning.
It's laid out at the back.
Nice shirt, nice gown.
Right then, how are we all feeling? Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed? Oh yes. I think there was a theme going on with the band last night. It was a bit of a Manchester theme between Stone Roses, Oasis and Joy Division, so it wasn't intentional, but we enjoyed it anyway. Obviously a lot of you are back from yesterday, so thank you for coming to the very early slot. And for those of you who are new today, thank you for coming just this morning. That's it's really great of you. I introduced Margaret yesterday, and I'm sure you all remember her well. For those of you who are new, Margaret is a learning and development officer. I'm sorry, I called you a management trainer yesterday, didn't I?
I don't know. Did you get paid?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll see how today goes.
Allegedly.
Yeah, we'll see how today goes. So, Margaret is going to be following on from her talk yesterday, but for those who are new, please don't worry, it will all be totally relevant and you don't need to have been here yesterday, but you can catch up because obviously you've got notes. Okay, Margaret.
Thank you very much indeed. Can I just check, for those people who weren't here yesterday, have you got a set of notes? Have you looked in your little packs? Have you got a pack? You've just got that?
Don't worry.
Tiny notes for borrowers, so you haven't got them. There's some spare ones there. I think there should be enough. Thanks, Tony. It's just so you don't feel left out, because these people are thinking, oh, if only I brought the pack that I was given yesterday with me today, I could be referring to those notes. Well, snooze, you lose. Except for smug people on the front row. Point. If you haven't got them, don't stress, because we will just do a little bit of referring to them. At least you can have them to read later on the train home, which we know you do, notes. So, just whilst Tony's doing the The delivering of notes, thanks, Mark. That's not by the way, Tony. I'm not just being millions with someone that I've been married for 32 years, so I think I can probably do Tony. Even have quite a snog on the background, maybe? Who knows? So, good morning and welcome. Just to check, for those of you who were here last night, did you have an enjoyable evening?
Yes.
I'm sorry, that was a little subdued. An enjoyable evening. Enjoyable evening?
Yes.
Yay! Oh, that tells us
Margaret, that is a sign of it.
that is a sign of enjoyable evening. I'm getting old. Well, I'm glad that you did. So, are you ready for another fantastic day?
Yes.
Okay, well, can we here for a while? Because Wendy's, the longer I talk, the happier she's going to be. Fantastic day or just an okay day?
Right day.
Thank you. Because those new people, you see, I can spot who the new people are. They've got clear eyes, they're looking relaxed, they're looking chilled. Yeah, missed a treat yesterday, but today will be very, very good, especially because you've arrived. Okay, just to sort of pull yesterday together, we had, I thought, a fantastic speech. Perhaps speech isn't exactly the right word, but anyone who heard Colin talk yesterday, I don't think would have failed to have been moved or, perhaps is moved the right word, by what he said, or touched by what he said. I hope I never have to be in his position and have to make those sorts of choices and, in a way, be tested in my family. I hope I never ever have to go through that. I can remember what I felt at the time because I actually worked in Warrington 2 days after that particular atrocity. So I know what the feeling was like, but that's 3-4 times removed from where it was. And what I thought it might be helpful just to start off with is we hopefully will never have to go through that. However, I do think that we might get challenged on a regular basis in very, very different ways as we go through our working life and our working week and our working day by people, by different situations, and whilst they won't necessarily be on a par with keeping peace and looking for peace in some of our terrible war-torn situations, we might not get the opportunity to be those sorts of people. I think on a day-to-day basis we can probably use a lot of the very same skills. And I know there wasn't an awful lot of time maybe to talk about some of those skills that Colin and his fantastic team use. So I thought I'd meld what we did about communication with what we're going to cover today. So you've got a bit of a checklist, if that's helpful for you, about what those skill sets might be. Would that be something useful just to kick us off with? Okay? So key things. You haven't got this in your notes if it's helpful for you. If you're not in note-taking mode, just let it wash over you. Key things that match dealing with conflict and dealing with everyday communication stuff as it comes up. Some of the things we talked about when we had a Q&A session are meeting people where they are, which I know we touched on. And another one I'd add to that, which we didn't mention yesterday, seeing the world from other people's hilltops. Everybody has their own view of the world that they think is right. Is that a fair, quick, brief assumption? So I think that my view of the world, as Margaret, built up over 57 years, is right, because that's the only one I know, and yes, because of the nature of my job and what I do, I've pulled in other viewpoints, and hopefully I've mellowed a little and not too rigid about it. But a lot of the people that you will deal with on a regular basis will be on their hilltop. As far as they're concerned, they're right. They're in the black and white, they're just right. So the more that you can, not about liking people, which is referring back to what we talked about yesterday, but the more that you can see the world from their perspective, see the world from their hilltop and meet them in that world and then bring them from the dark side to lightness, which is where you want them to be. Good, open communication, everybody understanding what needs to be done, expectations, etc. So that sort of have a bit of resonance with what we did yesterday. The empathising we certainly talked about, and empathising, for those of you who weren't here, is not about rolling over and having your tummy tickle and just being soft. Empathy is professional, it's used in the real hard world of business, though I don't reckon business world is always that hard actually because we've got people in it, but it's a very, very useful skill to have. If you can empathise with some of these people you might be having a bit of a challenge with, then you are more than meeting them halfway, but you're not saying, yeah, you're absolutely right to be screaming half an inch from here, down the phone, or yelling via email, using capitals to yell at you. I love the way people don't register that, like the way you actually hear it. Or when you speak to them face to face. So that's one to have a think about. Use a lot of empathy. And the other 2, 3 would be you, again. Did you enjoy what you did? Okay, good. I know what you're doing, you see. That's our secret. Clear, open communication, assertive communication, so you get your message across in the best possible way and you check it's landed. So remember that bit where you check it's landed, you don't just think, yeah, I was clear, I was wonderful. It was great, it was a Fab Friday. So yeah, there was no worries that you actually check. And the last two which we'll focus on this morning, bring us full circle, is listening effectively to people. Listening intently to what people are saying and also what they're not saying verbally, but what they're saying about their body language and all of those other areas. So you're picking up the undertone of what's being said, because people will often say one thing, and I don't mean to be deceitful, they'll say one thing, but they might mean something else, and you pick that up at another level, gut level, we talked about yesterday. You pick it up at the gut level and you think, something not quite right there. So it's full body listening, if you like. So even if the ears aren't working too well, you can pick up a lot with your eyes, and that's what I mean by full body listening. And the final one that goes with listening, could be a listening, would be nice to have something to listen to. So asking some questions, being intelligently inquisitive, finding out as much as possible. Now, questioning to a lot of you guys is food and drink, isn't it, really? If you didn't ask questions, you won't be able to do what you do. But are you getting the big bang for your buck with every question? Are you getting as much as you possibly can out of every interaction and every question? Because the key thing about questioning is it helps you to check whether the agreement or actions that are going to be agreed that you think have been agreed, that the other person's actually agreeing to as well. So it's a bit of a summary, a bit of questioning. So has that been helpful to pull yesterday together? Colin's session, which I thought was superb. And for those of you who missed it, great guy, worth having a look at him and his Peace Centre. Fantastic. And I hope that pulls the relevance of what he was talking about with what we've talked about and what we're talking about today. Okay? Great guy. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Made me think again. So, let us move on. Those of you who have your notes, if you turn to page 6, insights into how you can become intelligently inquisitive. Don't worry, we're not going to go through in chapter and verse. It's there as a reference. You know you have something to go home with, other than muffins in this chapter. And I term it as being intelligently inquisitive, because I thought if I write nosy on there, people might be offended. But it is about being interested in people. I'm interested to get the facts. I am inherently nosy, but I'm interested to get the facts, because the sooner I get the facts, the sooner I can deliver what my clients need. Not necessarily what they want or think they want, but what they actually need. So that's why I'm calling being intelligently inquisitive. We all ask questions, I'm sure, to greater or lesser extent throughout our working day. Build your repertoire of questions up, and it takes years to do that. You will have some favourite questions that you know. A bit like keys, you know, they unlock different doors, and you'll think, aha, I can bring out question number 7, because I know question number 7 works. Well, question number 7 might work with that group of people, it might not work with this lot, so you might need questions 8, 9 and 10. So we'll build a little bit during the course of today for you on the questions. But at the start for 10, what prevents us, or what causes listening to be a challenge? We're going to do a listening bit first. But what causes listening to be difficult?
Thinking.
It's responsible for a lot of problems, isn't it, thinking? I should do less of it. Yeah, thinking. And what sort of stuff are we actually thinking about?
The next thing you're going to say.
Well done. Yes, because I am in stress mode, because I'm going to listen and I want to get some information, and the person's speaking, and I'm watching the lips move maybe. Yeah, and maybe it's going in, but have I made the link between what I'm hearing and understanding? So we might be doing too much thinking, we might be lining up the net, fabulous, wonderful, killer phrase that you sweated blood over in thinking. What else prevents us listening to people, really listening to people?
Is it just assumptions that you kind of know what they are saying?
Well said, it's assumptions. I know what you're going to say, so why do I need to listen to it? We've been down there, we've been round this play before, we've been round the whole thing. Why do we need to? No, I don't really need to listen, because you're going to say that, I'm going to say this, you'll say that, I say that, and we'll be wet. So lots of assumptions. What else prevents us from listening effectively?
Distractions.
Distractions, yeah. What else? She wasn't with me yesterday. New question. No. This is really important stuff. So what stops it? Because I know full well that for me, and I trained as a counsellor, I spent like 2 years learning how to listen. That was about as much fun as I'm in pinspot in my eyes. Listening for 2 years, just grow it, just do what you need to do and move on. but it was very, very good training. Interruptions, distractions, wrong time. Yes, I know better. I know that, which moves on, takes assumptions to another level. I moved on, but I know. Actually, I'm the expert here. Well, why do I need to listen to what you're actually going to say to me? All I wanted to just get your thinking hats on, because you're going to do some listening now. All I wanted you to get your thinking hats on about, there are loads of reasons why it's difficult for us to listen effectively, okay? If you figure that you've lost the plot part-way through when you're meant to be listening, then remember what we talked about yesterday, summarise. If in doubt, summary is the saviour of all lost situations. So it's not making assumptions. It's saying, can I just check? Can I just check? This is where I think we've got to. It's your bailout phrase, okay? This is what I think we've got to. If you haven't got to that point, or you've got it wrong, what's the other person going to do for you? They'll put you right. And as long as you ask that sort of quite challenging little checking question softly, respectfully, remember what we talked about yesterday, being respectful, using integrity, being honest with people, all of those things, then they will pick up that you are really trying to get it right. And most people will forgive people if they get it wrong, if you look like you're trying. Unfortunately, what a lot of people miss out on is demonstrating that they're trying. They think people will know because I'm here to listen. They will know that I'm doing it. I do not need to broadcast it. You do. Not many things, I'm just going to give you as a straight. You do. People don't get it, and if they think you're not listening, they are going backwards instead of moving to where you are. So you could lose out on an opportunity. Okay? Enough said? Put you in the spot. I've also given you 5 straightforward tips for active listening, so I'll just reiterate those and you're going to do some listening. Not to me, you might be glad to hear that, but to people who are near you, who are just as lovely. And I've got loads of things to say. So your top tips for active listening, I don't think I have to say that twice. Number 1, you've got to want to do it. I know that may sound blindingly obvious, but I've seen many people who basically are lying to themselves. I don't want to listen, I'm not interested, I may be being judgmental, maybe making a load of assumptions. You've got to want to do it. In our role, working with people, that is a given, I know. We need to do that as part of our job. But some days we're going to be more up for it than others. Number 2, find some point of interest and build some rapport. People buy people first before they buy your ideas, what you want them to do. For you to be able to influence them, you have to have built rapport with them. How you do that is using a keyword called sincerity. If you have read books about manipulation and about, if I say that, you're going to do that. And I could jump to my body language and you'll follow me and we'll have rapport. People are not stupid. They may act stupid occasionally, but they're actually not stupid and they will sense that something isn't right, so you've got to mean it, guys. And I'm not being rude or patronising saying that to you. There are days when I need to just go for a little walk to make sure I do mean it before I have a conversation with someone. Okay? Even one. Number 3, ask quality questions. Become intelligently inquisitive. We'll look at questions in a minute. Number 4, think about what's really being said at every level. Non-verbally and verbally. Because we tend to think that listening is a very auditory operation. And of course it is to a large extent. But think about it, it's also picking up all the signals. Where's the eye, where the eye's going? Has it landed? You know? Pick up the signals that you've got. You are experts at this, but what tends to happen, we've sort of begun to move those gut instinct things a bit to one side and say, no, we need to have another way of checking. Well, that's the best way. If in doubt, ask a question. If you think it's not landed, ask a question. If you think we're not listening to you, I mean really not listening, imagine that's your key point and you've built up to it, and it's the absolute whole reason for the conversation, and what you're getting back from somebody is eyes out to lunch, technical training term. They have not heard it. You've just wasted, I don't know how long of your time. So you need to check, and it might take you out of your comfort zone, and you might think, I'm a bit embarrassed, a bit uncomfortable about it. Get over it, do it there and then. Just check. They will be grateful that you've done it, and they will be grateful that you haven't embarrassed them saying, were you listening? Hello, is anybody in there? Are you awake? What's going on? See, advantage of glasses keeps you... see what I'm saying? So it's worth checking. And the last one I put down there for you, make notes of keywords, phrases and points. These are not meant to be patronising. You might say, yes, I make loads of notes. Are they any use? If you make notes like I used to make notes, about as much use as a chocolate teapot, I look at them and thought, that was insightful. And then I'm thinking, what the hell does that mean? I don't know. So bullet points, etc., etc. If you're on the phone with people, hopefully you're listening quite a lot, and you're going to be picking up the tone of voice, you're not going to get the body language and all that going on. You need to let the other person know, I'm going to make a few notes, because people will know you're doing something and they'll wonder what you're doing. And if they're wondering what you're doing, you will lose trust and you will lose rapport, and it's done like that. So it's well worth to say, look, I need to just write a few bullet points down. I know they will assume you're doing it, but you've confirmed it. Yeah, makes some sense? And if you're in front of people, I'm sure you would automatically say, look, I'm going to make a few notes here. And it's great for your summary. This is what I've got. Did I write that down correctly? Okay? So let's just start for 10. So, you've heard enough from me. Let's put this into practice. I think it's helpful to put it into practice. So, you will need a person to work with. So, twos, get yourself somebody to work with. You might have to scooch your chair around. If you could do that now, that would be really great. So, check you've got somebody. If you've got an uneven number on your row, trust me, one of you is going to be talking to themselves, unless they move. Which would be Sam. He's versatile. So have you all got somebody? You don't have to like them, you might not even know them. Who knows? You will find interesting things out. Everyone paired up. Hello, Simon. Good morning. You're like me, you're used to talking to yourself anyway. So no worries. But they can play on the back row if you want. So everyone's got somebody. Yeah? I mean, you was great. You actually need to talk to this lady.
I'll come to you.
Okay, so here's your brief. Decide who is going to speak first. So if you want to have a little conflict about that whilst I stand here before I give you the next instruction, then feel free to do so. Sorted? Yes? Yeah. Because you're both going to be doing it at some point. So you know who's going to speak first. So this is what you're going to talk about for no more than about 3 minutes. So this is not War and Peace. So you people who like to give the £10,000 answer to anything, you're going to be a bit stressed, okay? Because we're only talking a few minutes. And what I'm going to invite you to talk about is your challenges, maybe a few, your challenges and your successes over the last few weeks. I'll leave it as open as that. So the first person is going to speak about their challenges and successes. So stuff that you found a bit challenging, a bit woo, as much as you can share, by the way, obviously. And successes. So you cannot spend 3 minutes just saying, oh yeah, I think it was terrible. And I think it was really bad. And then that happened. And then she said that, and he said that. And then I wanted to top myself. We've got pens that are sharp. So if you're listening to that, you feel free to risk. Do whatever. We're looking at a balance, and I'll explain the reason why it's important. So first person does that, and then you listening person, you're not going to be saying an awful lot. You're going to be doing the nodding. Do you know the nodding? That sage nodding. And I thought maybe, less restrained and I must think too much. So you are allowed the odd little encouraging, okay? But not big questioning thing going on. This is just allowing someone the space to speak and be listened to. So you're going to do the encouraging bit, and then you're just going to do a quick précis. So your challenge was, boom, 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 success was that, and then you're going to change over and do the same thing. Clear enough instructions? It's entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. I would think for 3 minutes, turns out by the night you had last night, you will be able to remember. But don't worry, if you want to make notes and you feel more comfortable, that's absolutely cool. Okay, go to it. First person starts talking, I'll let you know if
obviously we've had to run over this for our normal
quite effective that. I'm sorry guys, the bleeding will stop very shortly. I appreciate that you might not have gone full circle, and life is just like that, and you can always carry on this discussion later on. But the key things for you, was it interesting just to have a moment to be listened to about challenges and successes? With someone maybe that you don't know very well, or you've only just met. You did that literally for just 2 or 3 minutes. If you listen well, and you are being listened to, you can get an awful lot of information out of people, and you can feel very valued in a very short space of time. Okay, so it's not just because we're wanting to make sure we can leave here on time today that we rushed that, but it was always only ever going to be very, very short. And did you find that your feedback from your avid listener was pretty close to being perfect and spot on? Key points? I saw all the notes, well, another thing happened to me. Yeah, I know it's a trauma. Can we move on to the area? Because I've had a bad time as well. So, quality listening doesn't have to take a long time. It does involve the whole of your attention, which is why it can be exhausting if you've been doing quite a lot of it. I think sometimes people think, oh, you know what, you've only been listening to somebody, how tiring can that be? And it can be, I think, very, very tiring. So, well done, I'm impressed. What I want to move on to is to have a little look at questions, because obviously you're listening to people, hopefully they're seeing something fake, used to you, and in normal circumstances, I wouldn't just have said, well, you're not going to have any discussion with them. Clearly, it's because I knew I was coming to the questioning bit. Because there'd be loads of times during that little interaction, you thought, what happened there, and why did that happen? You can ask all of those questions later with people. But it's a two-way street. Active listening is a dirty. Yeah? It's picking up all the signals and it's actively being involved. So, questioning on page whatever it is, but I've lost the number, page 7. You know about questioning, don't you? Happy smiley faces. There appears to be some doubt now. People think, no, you're going to ask people about questions. Look, I'll come to the chase, guys. We all need, myself included, to up our ante on asking more questions and asking the right sorts of questions that are going to get you the result that you need, okay? And if you're not getting the answers you need, notice I won't use the word want, need to move things forward, then have a think, look at the question that you've asked, even though you might think that was the best question in the world. You know, it was fabulous. I thought it was going to really give me a load of information. And one you've used loads of times, and then you try it with somebody else, and it's like a damn squib, and they're looking at you as if to say, have you spoken? Had that happened to you? Or was it just me that's a sad interview type person? Okay, well, if that has happened, you need to check your repertoire. And I'm sure your repertoire is quite large. I just wanted to add a few more bits and pieces, not out of arrogance, but to remind you of what you already know. So, if we come to the chase, I've picked 4 categories of the most commonly used questions, all right? And I know I've got probably 7, 8 pages of different categories, but I'm being realistic about what we can cover. And I put a little sort of funnel at the top here, a questioning funnel. And if you want to get a conversation rolling, what sort of questions are going to help you the most? Front row remind me, because I don't want you to feel embarrassed that they're getting this. Works for me, and my listening is improving without a doubt. So open questions. Open questions, loads of open questions. What do they all start with? Come on, guys. Sock them at me. And those of you intelligently inquisitive will know that some of them are actually written down on that sheet of paper. So if your mind has just gone a little blank, you can say, I think maybe they maybe start with a W. And all that. You've got them all, the key ones, okay? And you will notice that I've put a little cautionary note about why. How many people use why as one of their open questions? Anybody? Perfect people. I could kiss them. The reason why is an open question, but I'll put it in a pot with a danger sign over it. It's very hard to ask a why question without sounding accusatory and the other person becoming defensive. Why didn't you answer my email? Don't know. Didn't want to, didn't like you, didn't get it. My machine broke. The internet was down and my machine was broken. I was going right out into the downstream. So the key bit for me is make that asset work for you. Open questions with that funnel, it's quite simple. Start off with a load of open questions. Will allow the discussion to warm up, all of those things. You then might want to put in some closed questions, which are your yes-no interlude. Yeah? Did you do that? Very clear, very useful questions. But what Tony and I discovered on our travels is that often closed questions are used too early on in a conversation. and they shut the lid on it because someone's in a hurry. I need to get to this information quickly, so I'm just going to ask did you do that? No. Okay, yeah, that kind of closed it down quite well. So sometimes it's useful to have them in there. Sometimes you've just got to be cautious about where you chuck them in, okay? So use that skill set that you've got and think, if in doubt, ask an open question. The worst thing that they can do is try and burble away through the answer a little, may try to be a little evasive. Very, very hard not to answer an open question with something a little bit more than the yes-no interlude. Some people will try it, I'm not saying they won't. But closed questions have the place. Limiting questions, love those. If any of you are parents or about to become parents or wanting to become parents, that is really useful. What would you like to do first? Clear the bedroom or wash up? Simple, straightforward, limiting, no ground. Television, no, sorry, that what I don't think was on the list. Clear up, wash up. So you're limiting what you want. And that might be when you've got loads of information and then you just want to close it down a little bit. Okay? So hopefully that's helpful. And the leading ones, I know everyone's always a bit twitchy about leading questions, but they have a place. There were, when we nipped for a little bit of light supper last night, really, really nice tapas bar, in Kong, and there were barristers in there. I've been doing this job a long time, I can spot people's professions. They were barristers, and they were doing a lot of, dear God, they were only having tapas and a glass of red wine. Really, I think you'll find that red wine is the red wine we're having. Oh, really? Have you not left court yet? No, they haven't. And they use a lot of leading questions in the legal profession. I've worked a lot with barristers, solicitors and people like that. They have a place. The key thing about all of this is mix, match, bob and weave. If you're not getting the answers that you need and it's not opened up enough, then have a rethink and go back to asking some more open questions. That makes some sense, and I hope that's helpful. Reminder of what you already know. We never have enough in our repertoire. I've probably got now about 120, I'd say, killer questions for me that's taken me years to build up, and I sometimes forget to use them, but when I use them, the key, it's like a well-oiled lock. You put the key in, you just give it a gentle, there's no forcing, you just give it a gentle upswing, and the door just opens, you get all the information. And I can see with a smile on your face, you've had that experience, yes? And it's brilliant. And you also know when you are beating your head against a closed door. And maybe we need to just have a look at our little repertoire. I promised that I would give you 10 questions that you could use straight away. If people want a reminder of those, they're there at the bottom of the page. The ones that we touched on yesterday, I tend to soften. You want to ask some hard questions, don't you? To get some really good information from people. If you ask hard questions, people might react like we were talking about yesterday. They might push against you. So ask a hard question in a soft way. And all that is I'm interested. What happened when, whatever. So I'm interested. I'm engaging with the person as a human being first. I'm interested. What specifically is another one of the little favourites side, chuck into the pot. What specifically are you meaning about that? Or do you want to happen next? Or you need us to do? You begin to narrow things down. Everyone will have their own favourites, so forgive me, I don't want to give you just a script of them. You're too unique for that, and intelligent. But have a play with those and make them your own. And you'll find ones, if you've not used ones like that before, give them a go. And you'll be amazed at what they, the nice, easy opening of the lock. It's amazing. And even now, it still surprises me in meetings with clients, and I think, I'm in the last chance saloon here, we just seem to be beating head against a brick wall, and I'll drop one of those in, and suddenly it all opens. It's absolutely amazing. So, I share that with you. However, of course, it wouldn't be just good enough to talk about questions, would it? We need to just get in there and give it a go. So, with the same person that you clearly got on quite well with, and if you didn't, now's your chance to move the chair and think, God, what else do you because what Tony is going to mingle emotion now, spangled tights, he's just my man, alright, I'm not. What's coming along is a questioner's brief. It's not a part of underwear or clothing, questioner's brief. And your task, in your case, is to ask another person for 5 minutes about what they have learned so far from this event. I know this event isn't closed and done because we've got loads of other things to do, but I thought it'd be good. I thought it'd be good to do a little bit of a health check and see where you are. Okay, so your task is to question another person for 5 minutes about what they've learned so far, and as part of that discussion.
Sorry, thank you.
feeling. It's Lucy. Oh, the other thing, I didn't tell you that yesterday. You want people to pay attention to you, shut up. It works every time. Okay, so as part of that discussion, you need to discover how they're going to use what they've discovered in their job, because we don't want, oh yeah, it's been a great event, I loved it. I particularly like this, and I like the chairs, and the buns are great. And that lunch yesterday was fab because it was all in the packet and I didn't throw anything. That's really useful, and we were all very happy to hear that. But what we want to know is what you've discovered that you could use in your job. You've given up a day, in some cases, a day and a half and a night of your time, and you want to make sure that you actually use it.
Everybody got?
Yeah. Thank you, able assistant. So the other thing is any benefits, all of that. So 5 minutes or slightly less, it doesn't matter. Change over the roles and then just a little bit of a debrief. What questions? So this is really engaging people with questions. We're not into the Spanish Inquisition. That's slightly different. We haven't got rats, ropes or anything else that you might like. But we haven't got any of those. This is about intelligently being inquisitive and finding out. Clear with instruction? Go to it, dears, and we'll take a little bit of feedback when it goes on. Thank you.
Quite difficult. We have to remember the last 24 hours. You want to just talk about what you what do you want to say there? I think obviously there's been the different talks as well. So there's the ones, this one from this morning. Made me think a bit more about I find it really, I don't like it. Yeah, I understand and next week another one, another 5 minutes, I'm going to find out. And it's like, I like
I just want to pull this briefly together. Was that useful? Informative? I appreciate the people who've just come in this morning and said, well, that's going to be a short conversation. I've only seen the wonderful Margaret Zuppinger. Well, I know you'd have had loads to talk about stuff. Or you'd have made it up. It doesn't matter. As long as you had an opportunity to discuss and question people, it sounded, everyone looked like they were having a good, positive experience. Nobody was going, no, I'm not going to answer that. It's a horrible question. And I hope it's helped to remind you of what you've achieved by being here so far. There's even more to come. So I'm nearly done. A couple of things to finish off. Ensure that you maximise every interaction that you have. So make the most of it, be it email, be it by the phone, be it face-to-face with people, okay? Really sweat that asset and get the most out of that opportunity without running people to death, of course. That's an optional extra if you choose to take it. Meet people where they are, not where you'd like them to be, because they're not going to be where you'd like them to be. So save yourself time and meet them where they are and pull them towards you with your rapport building skills, your communication skills, your questioning skills, so that you are an attractive place to be, not a place where they don't want to be. And the last one is people buy people first, so don't sell yourself short. Okay? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. 4 minutes over, 10 minutes later, I think that's
Amazing.
Pretty.
Thank you, Margaret.
My pleasure.
Just a couple of very, very quick things. I told you yesterday about the feedback forms which are in your pack.